Alright, so really quick, I'm noticing there's one thing that I gotta do just organizationally speaking, just to make this work, because right now, if I grab my upper jaw, rotate around, you notice the eyelids don't work very well. So we're gonna fix that really fast. What you gotta do is select the curves that are the influences. Basically this whole myriad of stuff. You got your clusters, you have these things called the bases that get created when you add the curves as influences, and we have the actual curves themselves. So what I'm going to do is take all of that stuff, again, the curves, the curve base, and the clusters, group them together, and then name this GRP Browse 01. And I'm going to parent that, just p-parent, underneath the upper jaw joint. So hit P, and now when I rotate that, you'll see the curves and everything go with it. Now, obviously, the eyeballs don't. We're going to do that. It might be a while from now. It can be done at any period. Heck, why not? Let's just go ahead and do it now, since they're visible, and they'll probably be visible for the most part. What I'm going to do is just constrain them to the eyeball joint that we've created. So we've got one right here that's in the center of the eye. So BN joint LI, and then I'm going to also select the LI group and parent constrain them. I want maintain offset on and add. Go to the other side and do the same thing to the other eye. Select the right eye joint and the RI group. Parent constraint. So now when I grab this and rotate, there you go. The eyeball goes with it, as do the curves and everything else. We're going to do something very similar to the teeth. We can go ahead and do that now as well, although they are hidden currently. I can bring them back. They were on a layer before, so there you can see they're not following either. So what I'll do is I've got my upper jaw joint. I'm going to do a very similar thing where the upper teeth follow the upper jaw and the lower teeth follow the lower jaw. So I select my upper jaw joint and the top teeth, and I'm going to parent constrain them. Then select the lower jaw joint and the bottom teeth. I'll hit G and do another parent constraint. So now you can see that when I open the mouth, there are the teeth. I'll put them on a reference layer. So now you can see. Now the tongue is still down there. We're not going to constrain that to anything. We're actually going to rig that. Probably one of the last steps we do, but we will do that a little bit later. Okay? For now, I'll just bring this back down, and we're going to work on the next step, where we're actually going to create a curve setup for the mouth. Okay? So what I like to do in this case is I'm going to take his head and his eyes. So I'll just grab the eyes group in this case, and I'm going to duplicate all this stuff. Okay, so there's my duplicates. I could probably leave them in that group, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna unparent these the duplicates, because I'm gonna have a special group for all this stuff later. So for now, this is okay. But the one thing that I have to do is that head was skinned before. So what happens is when you skin it, it actually locks all the transforms. So the only thing that can control the skin is actually the influences that you have, the joints. So it locks everything up. So what I need to do is on this duplicate head, I'm just going to select all the attributes and unlock them. Okay? So I'm going to rename this. This will be BSHP Rudy Head 01. And I'll name this group GRP BSHP Eyes. And I'm going to take these and move them over one unit. The one unit is not exactly necessary. That's my OCD talking, so don't worry about that. Alright, so this head is going to be used as a blend shape for this head. And we'll be setting that up over a series of a couple of videos. But first thing I need to do is just get started on controlling this thing. So what I'm going to do is, actually, I'll go ahead and apply this as a blend shape now. so that whenever I make changes to it, it'll go ahead and affect this. Now, there's one thing we have to do in the setup of this. It's slightly different, but still pretty easy to do. Let me think. Yeah, I can go ahead and do this now. So I'll select this head and then this head, and I'm going to go ahead and add it as a blend shape. So create deformer, blend shape, hit the option box. I will call this BSHP Rudy. I'm going to give the node a name. And there's one other thing we got to do under the Advanced tab. You want to make sure the deformation order says front of chain. The reason why we got to do that is because the original head, which is on the left, and I will refer to this as the original head a lot, so just get used to that term, it already has been skinned. And if you do the blend shapes after the skinning, there are some issues that can happen. I've seen that they kind of have gone away in recent years, but it's better off just to do this. That's why I've always said put your blend shapes on first. So what this will do is basically put this into the history of the object, but put it before the skinning so that it evaluates differently and that the skinning and the blend shape deformer will work together in peaceful harmony, as it were. So hit create, and if you want to see it working, you can just move some verts around. Now it's currently off, so let me go ahead and turn that on. You'll see that it actually went into the middle here. I'm going to turn this blend shape on, and now if I mess with this, you can see that it affects it. And if I grab the joints and rotate them, you'll see it works right on top of it. So that's perfect. Okay. So we can go and move on from here. So what I'm going to do is start working on the lips for this blend shape head. And what I'm going to do for that is exactly the same as what we did for the eyebrows. But it's slightly different, but it's still going to be controlled by a curve. So what I'll do is go to my CV curve tool, set it to linear, which it still is from before, and I am going to snap to an edge loop here. And the edge loop I'm going to use is actually this one right here. For both the top and the bottom, they will start and end at similar points. But I'm just going to be basically kind of using this as a guideline. I'm not going to go over each vertice like I did before. I'm actually going to be skipping quite a bit. I'm going to be creating 5 CVs per curve, which means I'm only going to click 5 times. So the first one, I'm going to go and zoom into the corner, and you'll see there's 3 edge loops here, which you should expect. And I'm going to hold down V and click right there, and that's my starting point. Alright, so now I got to make a bit of a judgment call and figure out where I want to click next. But I am going to follow this edge loop around, still holding down V, and I'm going to snap right there. And then I'm going to go to the center point of the lip right here and reverse the action. So there's my 4th point, and I'll get in closer to the corner here, still holding down V as in Victor, and snap to the exact same point on the other side. Okay, so I hit enter, and there you can see my curve. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing to the underside, or the lower lip, I'm sorry. So I'll grab my CV curve tool again. I'm going to snap to the exact same start point, right there in the corner, and mimic the exact same position. So there's 2, because it lined up with that one. 3, oops, I missed. There we go. 4, and again, I'm going to end off at the same point, and there it is. So you can see, if I can get the other curve, there you go. There's our 2 curves. So I'm going to name these. These will be C influ. This is the upper lip, and C influ lower lip. Oh, I called that lower upper lid on the other one. Okay. There we go. You can go ahead and center pivot on these. Again, I have a hotkey for it, so that's why it just did it without me going up to the menu. But that's looking good. Now, the other thing I need to do is cluster these curves. And there's a pretty quick way to actually do this. Let me see if I can do this. I'm just going to turn off polygon objects real quick. so we only see the curves. You can either go in and select each vertice and then apply a cluster to it, or with the curve selected, hold down Control and right-click on it, and go east to cluster. And that's it. Bottom one, hold down Control, right-click. Actually, you know what? While that is quick, it's not going to do one thing that I need to do. But at least you know how to cluster a curve quickly. But in this case, I don't want to do that. There is one special thing here. I want to be very specific about the corners here. So I am going to have to do them by hand. But it's not a big deal. It doesn't take very long. So what I'll do is go into CV mode and grab this vertice right here. I'm not going to do the outer ones, the corner ones yet. There's good reason. So create deformer, and I want cluster. And I just want to make sure relative is turned on, which it is. So there we go. And I'll go back to Control Vertex, do the same thing, and do the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom curve too, but again, I'm only doing those 3 central points. Because what I'm going to do for the last one is a little bit different. What I want to do is select both curves this time, and I'm just going to hit F8 or go to component mode and select the corner CVs. I have 2 CVs selected right now because I actually had both curves in component mode. So with both of those selected, I'll just do the cluster again. And now that cluster is actually controlling one CV on 2 different curves. So there's 2 CVs here. So you can see as I move that one cluster handle, it's affecting both curves. So I select both the curves again, get the other CV, and I'll hit G, and that will cluster that one as well. So instead of 10 total clusters, which is what we would have had before, now we have less. We actually have 8, because these 2 have been combined into one. So we can name these real quick. This will be CL underscore R mid R mid upper, yeah, upper lip. And I call it mid, even though this is the center. I call this kind of a midpoint. That's generally the term I use. This will be CL underscore. It's not right or left in this case. This will be just center upper lip 01. This will be CL underscore L mid upper lip 01. And then I can start copying these names and using them. This will be lower. And last but not least, this will be CLR corner lip 01, because it's neither upper or lower, it's both. And this will be CLL corner lip 01. Alright, so let's bring back the polygons now. It's not going to do a whole lot yet, but you can see that we can manipulate the actual curve now. So, now we need to apply this to the actual skin. So, we got to do the exact same thing that we did before with the brows. We're going to add influences. So, I would just go ahead and do that, but unfortunately, this mesh is not skinned yet. I can't actually do it. So what we have to do is first apply a skin to this, but we have no joints. So what I like to do, this is a pretty quick thing. I'll just create, maybe I'll do this. I'll do one thing first. I'm going to just, with the head selected, go to Create Deformer, Cluster. And what that does is puts a cluster at the very center of the head, which makes it very easy to just grab our joint tool now and hold down V and snap to it. And there you go. Now, while the positioning of that joint isn't imperative, it doesn't hurt to put it in the center. So I can now delete that cluster handle. It was just there just to snap the joint, and the joint is still there. So to apply a skin to this now, I'll just select the skin and select the joint. Skin, bind skin. Just going to check just to make sure, even though I don't think it matters in this case. Looks good. Bind skin. So now you can see whatever I do to that one joint is going to happen to the head, as well as the blend shape in this, or the original head. But now I need to apply some influences. So select the skin, now that it is skinned, which we can see by the skin cluster. And I'm going to select the two curves that we made as well. We'll go to Skin, Edit Smooth Skin, Add Influence, and I'm going to go to the option box. Just make sure Use Geometry is turned on, and we want to lock the weights at 0. So when I add them now and go under my Paint Weights tool, there they are. So I can unlock those. And you might think, oh, well, now I can just move that and it's going to do something. It does nothing because of that one little option. With the skin selected, you go into the Skin Cluster 2 here. It might be called something different for you, obviously. And turn on Use Components. So now, let's just say I'll grab some of these. Still not going to do anything. Why? Well, I actually forgot for a second there. I need to paint some weights. So I'm going to block in some weights on this thing. Now that my influences are in there, I can go ahead and actually just block them in. These replace a value of 1. And here's where you got to be very specific, but this is the exact same method we've done, I believe, already 3 times in these videos. So you just go in and you'll start blocking in the weights. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. I just want to show you that it works because we've done this already. So I don't want to make 6 different videos on doing the exact same maneuver over and over again. There we go. Okay. And just block in everything else. Okay. And I need to add a little bit in the corner over here, which I'm probably going to have to finagle with a little bit off camera. But it will be fine for the follow-up video. Alright, so blocked them in. Now if I grab some of my clusters and start moving them, you'll see, hey, I can control the lip. Awesome! And you'll see it also affects the other side. So if I actually grab let's grab the lower jaw in this case and just rotate it down. Actually, no, let's do the upper jaw because that's all I've painted so far. So just as an example, move the upper jaw. Now, as I get my clusters, you can see that they're still affecting it, which is great. So now what you want to do is you'll start animating the clusters over here, you know, just to the extremes, up, down, left, right, forward, back, and you'll start adjusting the weights. Exactly what I did in the previous video on the eyelids, exactly what I did on the brows, exactly what I did on the lips. You're going to go, or in the jaw, I should say, because this is now the lips. What you're going to do now is go in and refine your weights so that you get nice skin stretching. Okay? So I'll leave that to you guys in the next video. It should already be done, or at least a good enough facsimile of a done version so that we can move on with the videos. Because in the next one, we are going to be working on creating more blend shapes for this scene, as well as we're going to be creating one more cluster per lip. So we've still got quite a bit of work to do, but there will be something on blend shapes for the next one.